Halfway through the engagement banquet, my fiancé suddenly knelt on one knee. I thought it was a surprise, but he was kneeling to the bridesmaid below the stage. "Sophie, marry me." The entire venue erupted in shock, and I felt as if struck by lightning. The champagne glass slipped from my hand, scattering crystal shards across the floor. The stage lights remained dazzling, while the gazes of the 300 guests below pierced me like knives. "Ethan, what are you doing?" My voice trembled over the microphone. He did not turn back, only kneeling more devoutly before Sophie, holding a diamond ring, the same style as the engagement ring I had just received yesterday. Sophie feigned surprise by covering her mouth, yet a smug smile lingered at the corners of her eyes. "Ethan, what is this?" "The one I love is you, and it has always been you." Ethan's voice echoed throughout the banquet hall via the microphone. "My engagement to Vivian is merely a family alliance. I had no choice." Murmurs arose from below the stage. "Oh my God, this is too dramatic. Vivian is so pitiful, dumped in public. I've heard long ago that Ethan and that Sophie were involved." I stood on the stage, dressed in a custom wedding gown worth $500,000, resembling a complete joke. Sophie shyly nodded, accepting the ring. The two embraced and kissed in public, and applause surprisingly erupted from below. My father, George, abruptly stood up, his face ashen. "Ethan, do you know what you are doing?" Only then did Ethan turn to look at me, his eyes devoid of any guilt. "Vivian, I'm sorry, I can no longer deceive my own feelings." No longer deceive feelings? Then what were the sweet words and vows of eternal love over these 3 years? When did you two start? I struggled to maintain composure. Sophie linked her arm with Ethan's, deliberately flashing the diamond ring on her finger in front of me. "Actually, Ethan and I were first loves. We were together in university. It was only because his family arranged the engagement with you that we separated. But how could love be torn apart? We have always kept in touch, never breaking off." Never breaking off. That meant, over these 3 years, what I thought was a sweet romance actually always involved a third party. The guests below watched this spectacle with keen interest, pulling out their phones to record videos. "Vivian, just fulfill our wishes." Ethan said it as if it were a matter of course. "Anyway, you don't love me, this is just a business marriage." I don't love him? Then what about learning to cook for him, staying up late with him during overtime, caring for him when sick, and canceling countless friend gatherings? Fulfill? I laughed. "Ethan, do you really know me?" "Vivian, you are a lady from a prominent family, you must understand, right?" Sophie feigned understanding. "Moreover, your uncle and aunt also hope for your happiness and don't want you to sacrifice your feelings for family interests." She spoke so righteously, as if being the mistress made her the victim. I scanned the entire venue, everyone was waiting for my reaction. Waiting for me to cry, to make a scene, to become hysterical. But they were wrong. I slowly removed the crown and veil from my head, placing them on the stage. "You are right, feelings cannot be forced." I said into the microphone, "Since Ethan has found true love, I will fulfill your wishes." The area below the stage fell silent, as if the air itself had frozen. No one expected me to be so calm. However, I shifted tone, my voice suddenly turning cold. "Ethan, don't forget you still owe my dad $300 million. Ethan's face instantly turned pale. "Vivian, what do you mean?" "The startup capital of $300 million, with monthly interest of $500,000, you've owed for 18 months, totaling $390 million in principal and interest." I said it nonchalantly. "Since we're breaking up, let's settle the accounts." Sophie's face also turned white. "Vivian, you're joking, right?" "I never joke." I took out my phone. "Ethan, the IOU you signed is still with me, in black and white, legally binding. You can repay now or wait for the court summons." Although Ethan's company was developing well, he simply couldn't produce over $300 million in cash flow. "Vivian, we at least had feelings." "Feelings?" I interrupted him. "Didn't you just say we were only in a business marriage with no feelings?" Ethan was speechless. I walked off the stage, under everyone's gaze, elegantly picking up a glass of red wine from the table. Since today is a good day, I'll wish you 100 years of harmony. With that, I splashed the entire glass of red wine on them. Sophie's white dress instantly turned blood red, and Ethan's white suit became disheveled. Vivian! Ethan roared. Oh, I forgot to mention, your company's rent should be increased. I said with a smile, after all, with current housing prices so high, $50,000 per month is indeed a bit cheap. Raising it to $500,000 a month shouldn't be excessive, right? Ethan's company was renting in my family's office building. Initially, to support him, the rent was indeed very low. You can't do this. Of course I can, because that building is mine. I adjusted my skirt. Ladies and gentlemen, today's engagement banquet ends here. Thank you all for participating. With that, I walked out of the banquet hall without looking back. Behind me came Ethan's roar, Vivian, don't go too far. Too far? The ones truly going too far were them. I stopped at the banquet hall door, turning back for a glance. The two on stage were in a sorry state, and the guests below were buzzing with discussion. At that moment, I suddenly recalled 3 years ago, the first time I met Sophie. 3 years ago, at the university graduation ceremony. Ethan pointed to a girl below the stage and said to me, Vivian, let me introduce you to a friend, Sophie, my university classmate. Sophie was wearing a simple white dress, timidly looking at me. Hello, Vivian, Ethan often mentions you. She seemed so innocent and harmless, like the girl next door. I still remember my thought at the time, this obedient girl must be a great friend. So I took the initiative to care for her, introduce her to jobs, and even let her be my bridesmaid. Thinking back now, it was truly ironic. From the beginning, she was there to steal my boyfriend. And I, foolishly, helped her get close to Ethan. Miss, do you need help? Driver Leo approached. Go home. I got into the car, exhaustedly closing my eyes. Everything that happened today felt like an absurd dream. My phone kept ringing, all calls from reporters and friends. I set my phone to silent, leaning back in the seat. The car drove through the nighttime streets, with neon lights flashing outside the window. Everything seemed so illusory. Miss, it's a call from Ethan. Leo said. Don't answer. He's called over a dozen times. Then turn it off. Back home, housekeeper Sabina greeted me. Miss, the master has returned and is waiting for you in the study. I nodded and walked to the study. Father George sat behind the desk, his face grave. Dad. Sit. He pointed to the chair opposite. I've heard about today's events. Do you think I did the right thing? You did very well. George's voice was calm. Cut ties when necessary, claim what's due. I haven't raised you in vain all these years. I was somewhat surprised, thinking father would blame me for causing a scene in public. That boy Ethan, I saw long ago he wasn't anything good. George snorted coldly. When you insisted on being with him back then, I reminded you to keep an eye out. So that's why you made him write the IOU? Otherwise? George stood up, walking to my side. Daughter, remember, you can lose in love, but not in money. Since he is unrighteous, we need not be benevolent. Tomorrow, have the legal department send a letter to collect the debt. I nodded. At that moment, the doorbell suddenly rang. Master, it's Ethan. Sabina hurried in. He says he wants to see the miss. Not seeing him. George answered directly. The doorbell kept ringing incessantly, accompanied by Ethan's shouts. Vivian, come out, let's talk properly. Vivian, I know you're in there. You have to give me a chance to explain. Vivian. You're being too heartless. I walked to the window and saw Ethan standing outside the door, his hair disheveled, red wine stains still on his white suit. Sophie was there too, hiding behind him, looking aggrieved. 3 years of feelings, and you just write it off like that? Ethan shouted at the villa gate. 3 years of feelings? Now he knows to talk about feelings? I opened the window, coldly saying, Ethan, don't you find yourself ridiculous? Just earlier on stage, in front of 300 people, you said we had no feelings, and now you come running saying 3 years of feelings? Ethan looked up and saw me, a glimmer of hope flashing in his eyes. Vivian, I was impulsive earlier. Give me a chance, let's talk properly. Impulsive? I laughed. Then the child in Sophie's belly is also the result of your impulse? Ethan's face instantly turned white, and Sophie covered her belly, stepping back a few paces. How do you know? I have eyes. I said coldly. Sophie deliberately wore a loose skirt today, walked cautiously, and kept touching her belly. How far along is the pregnancy? 3 months? Sophie's tears fell instantly. Vivian, Don't call me sister, we're not close. I interrupted her. Since there's a child, live well. But the money, not a penny less. With that, I closed the window and drew the curtains. The shouts outside continued, but I could no longer hear them. Housekeeper Sabina approached. Miss, should I call the police? No need, they won't make trouble for long. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, it was quiet outside. I sat on the sofa, picked up a book, but couldn't read a single word. My mind kept replaying today's events. From the start of the engagement banquet to now, in just a few hours, my life had undergone earth-shattering changes. 3 years of feelings turned out to be just a joke. But I didn't regret today's decision. Since they chose betrayal, they must bear the consequences. The phone suddenly rang. It was an unknown number. Hello? Vivian, it's me. It was Sophie's voice. Get to the point if you have something to say. Vivian, I want to meet you. There are some things I want to say to you. Sophie's voice was soft, just the two of us. I was silent for a few seconds. Tomorrow afternoon at 3, Blue Mountain Cafe. Okay, thank you for agreeing to see me. After hanging up, I leaned back on the sofa. What did Sophie want to say? Was she coming to apologize or to gloat? Regardless, some things indeed needed to be clarified. Since she wanted to talk, let's talk once. It could serve as a period to these 3 years of feelings. The next afternoon, I arrived at Blue Mountain Cafe on time. Sophie was already waiting inside, still with that pitiful appearance. Vivian, you're here. She stood up, wanting to hug me. I stepped back. Speak directly if you have something to say. A flash of embarrassment crossed Sophie's face. She sat back down. I want to apologize for yesterday's events. Apologize? I sat opposite. Do you think one apology is enough? I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have been with Ethan. Sophie's eyes reddened, but we truly love each other. This isn't something anyone can control. Truly love each other? If you truly love each other, why not say it earlier? Why wait until the engagement banquet? My voice was calm. Did you think it would be more thrilling, more satisfying? Sophie shook her head. No, we didn't want this either. But Ethan said that if we didn't make it public at the engagement banquet, your dad would never agree to your breakup. So you designed this drama? Not designed, but unavoidable. Sophie wiped her tears. Vivian, you're so smart and excellent, you can definitely find someone better. Ethan and I have nothing but each other. She spoke so aggrievedly, as if she were the victim. Sophie, your acting is really good. I picked up the coffee, sipping slowly, but there's one thing you got wrong. What? Ethan and I broke up long ago. Sophie was stunned. When? A month ago. I set down the coffee cup, but this matter, only he and I know. Sophie's face instantly became pale. Impossible, he didn't tell me. Why tell you? I laughed. What do you think you are? A month ago, I accidentally discovered Ethan's phone chat records. His ambiguous messages with Sophie had lasted for a full 3 years. That night, I confronted him directly. Ethan knelt before me, crying and begging for forgiveness, saying he would cut ties with Sophie. I agreed to give him one chance, but the condition was breakup. He agreed. But I didn't expect him to pull such a stunt at the engagement banquet. Then why still hold the engagement banquet? Sophie asked. Because the banquet hall was already booked, the money paid, not holding it would be a waste. I said matter-of-factly. Moreover, I wanted to see just how shameless you two are. Sophie's tears stopped, she glared at me, you did it on purpose? Of course. I admitted frankly, everything yesterday was within my expectations. Including your pregnancy, I knew about it long ago. You. Sophie wanted to say something but found she couldn't utter a word. Surprised? Unexpected? I admired her wonderful expression changes, thinking yourself smart, but actually everything was under someone else's control. Sophie clenched her fists, Vivian, you're too vicious. Vicious? I chuckled lightly, compared to the little tricks you pulled behind my back, what is this? You say you truly love each other, then why did I have to pay for every date? Why were the date locations always ones I recommended? You think I didn't know those date spots were deliberately inquired about by you? Sophie's face grew increasingly ugly. Also, Ethan's startup capital was provided by my dad. The luxurious life you enjoyed was with my money. Now tell me about true love? Sophie wanted to retort but was interrupted by me. The most ridiculous thing is, do you really think Ethan loves you? Sophie was stunned, what do you mean? I took out my phone and played a recording. Vivian is good, but she's too smart, I feel some pressure. Sophie is more obedient and easy to control. I just need an obedient woman, Sophie fits the bill. Once I get the Shin family's assets, I can dump her. The recording was Ethan's voice, clear as day. Sophie's face instantly turned as white as paper. When was this recorded? Half a month ago, when he was drunk, talking in his sleep. I put away the phone, do you still think he loves you now? Sophie slumped in the chair, completely dazed. Impossible, he's not that kind of person. Not that kind of person? I sneered, then tell me, what kind of person is he? He's gentle, considerate, knows how to make me happy. That's only when he needs you to cooperate in the act. I said cruelly, Sophie, do you really think you're special? In his eyes, you're just a tool. No, you're lying to me. Sophie suddenly became emotional, you're just jealous of our relationship. Jealous? I found it amusing, jealous of what? Jealous that you're treated as a substitute? Or jealous that you're pregnant with an unwanted child? Sophie covered her belly, tears falling again, you're too cruel. Cruel? I stood up, Sophie, the truly cruel ones are you. Over 3 years, watching me being played like a fool by you, don't you think that's cruel? Clearly, you intervened in our relationship first. Sophie suddenly shouted, Ethan and I are the true lovers, you're just the intruding third party. The other customers in the cafe turned to look. I sat down unhurriedly, is that so? Then do you have evidence to prove you were together before me? Sophie was stunned. Photos? Chat records? Or witnesses' testimonies? I pressed step by step, bring them out. Sophie opened her mouth but said nothing. Because she had no evidence. Ethan was smart, he never left handles. Since there's no evidence, don't talk nonsense. I sat back down, besides, even if you were first loves, so what? Now he owes my family over 300 million, that's a fact. Sophie's eyes suddenly became desperate, what do you want exactly? I don't want anything, I just want back what's mine. I took a sip of coffee, over 300 million, not a penny less. But Ethan can't come up with that much money. That's his problem, not mine. I said indifferently, he can sell houses, cars, the company. If all else fails, he can get a bank loan. If he can't repay? Then go to jail. I said nonchalantly, debt must be repaid, it's only natural. Sophie glared at me, her eyes full of hatred, Vivian, you're so heartless? Heartless? I countered, then what are you? Affectionate? We at least haven't harmed you. Haven't harmed me? I almost laughed, Sophie, you're really something. Seducing my boyfriend isn't harming me? Stealing the groom at my engagement banquet isn't harming me? We truly love each other. So what? I said coldly, love can't be eaten, nor can it repay debts. Sophie completely broke down, sobbing on the table. The surrounding customers murmured, some already taking out phones to record videos. I didn't want to become an internet hotspot, so I stood up to leave. Wait. Sophie suddenly grabbed my wrist. I beg you, let Ethan go. I can do anything, as long as you let him go. I looked at her swollen eyes. Anything? Yes, anything. Sophie nodded vigorously. Whatever you want me to do. I thought for a moment and slowly said, then go die. Sophie was stunned, her eyes full of shock. What did you say? I said, go die. I repeated, this is the most valuable thing I can think of for you to do for Ethan. Vivian. Sophie trembled with anger. How can you say that? Why not? I shook off her hand. You just said you'd do anything. I meant anything, but not including death. Then there's nothing to talk about. I picked up my bag to leave, except for the 300 million, I don't want anything. Vivian, wait. Sophie hurriedly chased after. We can repay slowly, in installments, okay? No. I didn't look back, I want it settled in one go. That's impossible. Sophie grabbed my arm. Over 300 million, he simply can't produce it. Can't produce it is his problem. I looked at her indifferently. Sophie, do you really think I'm negotiating with you? Don't push people too far. Push too far? I laughed. At yesterday's engagement banquet, did you consider my feelings? Now you know to say pushing too far? Sophie was left speechless. Besides, I'm not forcing you. I adjusted my clothes. You can choose not to repay, then wait for the court summons. With that, I truly left the cafe. Sophie's cries came from behind, but I didn't turn back. Since they chose betrayal, they must bear the consequences. I'm not a saint, I have no obligation to forgive anyone. Back home, Father was in the study on the phone. Okay, I got it, arrange it immediately. Hanging up, he looked at me. Back? Met that girl? Yes. I sat on the sofa. She wanted to plead, to let Ethan go. What did you say? I said except for the money, I don't want anything. George nodded satisfactorily. Well done. Being emotional is a woman's great taboo, keeping rational is good. Dad, I'm a bit tired, want to rest. Go. George waved. Right, tomorrow there might be reporters for interviews, prepare yourself. I nodded, returned to my room. Lying on the bed, I couldn't sleep at all. My mind kept recalling bits and pieces with Ethan. First meeting, first date, first kiss. Those beautiful memories now seemed ironic. Everything was fake. His gentleness, his consideration, his promises, all fake. I hugged the pillow, tears finally falling uncontrollably. Not because I lost Ethan, but because I lost trust and love. 3 years of youth, wasted just like that. The phone suddenly rang, another unknown number. Hello? Is this Miss Vivian? I'm reporter Mike, wanting to interview you about yesterday's engagement banquet. Not accepting interviews. I hung up directly. But calls came one after another, all from reporters. I simply turned off the phone. The next morning, Sabina woke me. Miss, something's wrong. Sabina's face looked bad. Look at the news quickly. I took the tablet, opened the news app. The headline boldly read, Tycoon heiress dumped at engagement banquet, demands astronomical breakup fee in rage. Clicking the video, it was a live stream from yesterday's engagement banquet. But edited, only keeping the parts where I splashed red wine and demanded the debt, completely deleting Ethan and Sophie's betrayal. The comment section was full of abuse. This woman is too vicious. If he doesn't love her, she demands 300 million? Tycoon women are like that, treating men as commodities. Ethan is so pitiful, meeting such a woman. No wonder Ethan dumped her, who can tolerate such a temper? I trembled with anger, immediately calling the lawyer. Thomas, what's with these news? Why have the facts been completely inverted? Miss Vivian, I was just about to call you. Thomas's voice was grave. Ethan hired trolls to stir things up online. Now netizens' emotions have been incited by him. What should we do? I suggest holding a press conference to clarify the facts. Okay, arrange it. Hanging up, I was so angry I wanted to smash things. Ethan, this bastard, not only betrayed me but also ruined my reputation. Does he really think I don't dare to fight him? Sabina said cautiously, Miss, the master calls you to the study. I went to the study. Father was watching the news. Dad, these news. I know. George's face was cold. This boy Ethan is more despicable than I imagined. What do we do now? Since he wants to play, we'll play to the end. George picked up the phone. Hello, it's me. Terminate Ethan's company's lease. Yes, effective immediately. Also, notify major banks to freeze all of Ethan's accounts. On what grounds? Suspected commercial fraud. I'll provide the evidence. Hanging up, George said to me, Daughter, remember, in business, being soft-hearted is seeking death. Since he is unrighteous, we need not be benevolent. I understand. I'll accompany you to the afternoon press conference. George stood up. Some things need to be clarified. At 3 in the afternoon, the press conference started on time. Over a dozen media outlets came, filling the conference room. I sat on the stage, facing dozens of cameras, surprisingly calm. Dear journalist friends, today's conference is to clarify some facts. I got straight to the point. Regarding what happened at yesterday's engagement banquet, online rumors greatly differ from the facts. Immediately, a reporter below raised a hand. Miss Vivian, is demanding $300 million breakup fee too excessive? First, this is not a breakup fee, but a loan. I took out the IOU. 3 years ago, Ethan borrowed $300 million from my father for startup capital, in black and white, verifiable. Second, regarding the breakup reason. I took out my phone and played a recording. It was Ethan and Sophie's chat voices, ambiguous content spanning 3 years. The reporters below began whispering. Everyone can hear clearly, their relationship started 3 years ago, meaning during my relationship with Ethan, he was always betraying me. Yesterday's proposal at the banquet wasn't impromptu but a long-planned betrayal. Another reporter raised a hand, but Mr. Ethan said your engagement was just a business marriage with no true feelings. Is that so? I played another recording, Ethan's confessions and promises to me. I love you, Vivian, you're the best girl I've ever met. I swear, in this life, I love only you. When my career succeeds, we'll marry, have children, live happily. The area below fell silent. These words were all said by Ethan himself. My voice was cold. Now he says no feelings, trying to excuse his betrayal? A reporter stood up. Miss Vivian, how do you plan to handle this now? Simple, repay the debt. I said resolutely, $300 million principal, plus 3 years interest, totaling $390 million. I'll give him 1 month, if not repaid, proceed legally. If he really can't repay? Then bankruptcy and jail. I showed no mercy. I'm not a philanthropist, no obligation to pay for others' betrayal. After the conference, online sentiment began shifting. Netizens who supported Ethan started questioning his character. Borrowed $300 million, yet dares to say it's a breakup fee? Heard the recording, this guy is a scumbag. Betrayed for 3 years and has the face to propose at the banquet, truly shameless. Vivian did right, such men should pay the price. Watching the comment changes, I felt a sense of successful revenge. Ethan, this is just the beginning. Since you chose betrayal, prepare to bear the consequences. The day after the press conference, I was handling work at the company when Secretary Tina rushed in. Vivian, Ethan is downstairs, saying he wants to see you. Not seeing. I didn't look up, have security escort him out. He says if you don't see him, he'll kneel downstairs and not leave. Tina said awkwardly, now many reporters are surrounding downstairs, taking photos. I frowned, walked to the window to look down. Ethan was indeed kneeling at the company entrance, surrounded by reporters and passers-by. He looked disheveled, with stubble and wrinkled clothes. This bastard, acting again. I sneered. Tina asked, Vivian, what do we do? Let him kneel. I returned to the desk. I want to see how long he can kneel. But Ethan's endurance exceeded my imagination. From 10 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon, a full 7 hours, he didn't get up. During that time, kind passers-by offered him water and food, but he refused all. The reporters were even more excited, taking shifts to film, afraid to miss any shot. Online buzz grew higher, the topic #EthanKneelsForForgiveness directly topping the hot search. Comments split into two camps: this man is scum, kneeling changes what? Looks sincere, maybe he really knows his wrong. Vivian is too ruthless, letting him kneel so long. Deserves to kneel. Betrayal's price should be this. At 5:30, I prepared to leave work. Vivian, Ethan is still below. Tina reminded. I know. I picked up my bag, go from the underground garage. But just as I reached the underground garage, I heard from the security intercom, bad news, the kneeling man fainted. I stopped. Ambulance called, on its way. Vivian, should we? Tina asked cautiously. No. I said firmly, his life or death has nothing to do with me. But I felt some unease inside. If something really happened to Ethan, the outside world would surely blame me. I took out my phone, called father. Dad, Ethan knelt downstairs all day, now fainted. I know, news reported it. George's voice was calm, don't soften, this is his ploy of self-injury. I'm worried. Worried about what? We didn't cause it. George interrupted, daughter, remember, sympathy is a woman's greatest weakness. Hanging up, I took a deep breath. Father was right, I can't soften. The ambulance arrived quickly, Ethan was lifted onto the stretcher. Reporters swarmed, snapping wildly at the stretcher. Doctor, how is he? A reporter asked. Dehydration and low blood sugar, no life danger. The doctor answered. Ethan weakly opened his eyes on the stretcher, looking toward my company, lips moving to say something. Reporters immediately surrounded, Mr. Ethan, what do you want to say? Vivian, sorry. Ethan's voice was small but caught by the mic. I know. I was wrong, please, forgive me. With that, he fainted again. This scene was live-streamed, exploding online. So heartbreaking, this man really knows his wrong. Vivian is too heartless, person fainted and she doesn't appear. Women are petty, no magnanimity. The one above is male, right? Try your wife betraying you for 3 years? Looking at online comments, my mood was complex. Ethan's self-injury ploy was indeed effective. Many started sympathizing with him, accusing me of being cold and ruthless. But I couldn't back down. Once I do, he'd push further. The next day, Ethan was discharged. He came directly downstairs to the company, continuing to kneel. This time, he brought a sign reading, I was wrong, beg forgiveness. Reporters came again, onlookers increasing. Downstairs became as noisy as a market. Vivian, this can't go on. Tina said worriedly, affects company image. I knew it couldn't continue. But I absolutely couldn't compromise first. Notify legal department, sue Ethan immediately. I ordered, on grounds of malicious damage to company reputation. Yes. An hour later, the court summons was delivered to Ethan. Reporters snapped wildly again. Mr. Ethan, you're sued, anything to say? Ethan looked at the summons, bitter smile, I won't get up unless Vivian forgives me. Even if sentenced, I'll kneel here. This is what I owe her. He spoke emotionally, moving the onlookers. Good man, knows wrong and changes. Vivian is too heartless. He's kneeling like this, still not forgive? Upstairs watching all this, my heart had mixed feelings. If 3 years ago, Ethan did this to me, I'd surely soften. But now, I only felt disgusted. His acting ability was really strong. Unfortunately, I'm no longer that easily moved silly girl. At 3 in the afternoon, Sophie appeared. With her belly protruding, she carefully walked to Ethan's side. Ethan, get up quickly, doctor said you can't continue like this. Ethan saw her, a complex flash in his eyes. Sophie, why are you here? I'm worried about you. Sophie's eyes were red. For me, you've paid enough. No, this is what I should bear. Ethan held her hand. Vivian is right, I did hurt her. Their dialogue was fully recorded by reporters, boiling online again. Oh my, this woman is pregnant and still comes to persuade her boyfriend to get up. Truly a good woman, much better than Vivian. Sophie is the one who truly loves Ethan. Vivian is just a vicious rich girl. Looking at the one-sided online comments, I calmed down instead. Ethan's move was clever, using Sophie's appearance to contrast my cold-bloodedness. But he forgot one thing. I still had a trump card. I picked up the phone, called Thomas. Thomas, organize Ethan and Sophie's hotel records and send to media. All? All. Including during pregnancy. Understood. An hour later, a detailed hotel record suddenly appeared online. From 3 years ago, Ethan and Sophie's hotel consumption records, densely packed dozens of pages. Times, locations, room numbers, all clear. Most shocking was, even during Sophie's pregnancy, they were still booking rooms in various luxury hotels. Netizens exploded. Mom, such detailed records? Pregnant and still so frequent? This woman doesn't care for her life? Betrayed for 3 years not to mention, even pregnancy doesn't stop? Just sympathized with them, now feel disgusted. Vivian did right, such scum should pay the price. Sentiment reversed again. Ethan and Sophie saw the news downstairs, their faces turning ashen. Sophie couldn't stand steady, almost falling. How is this possible? She trembled. Ethan clenched his fists, looking up at my office window. Through the glass, our gazes met in the air. I smiled at him. A victor smile. Ethan, did you really think I was unprepared? For every betrayal, I have evidence. Now, it's your turn to taste despair. After the hotel records exposure, Ethan and Sophie became despised by all. Onlookers' attitudes turned 180 degrees. Scum is scum, pretending deep affection? Pregnant and still so frequent, this woman isn't good either. Vivian cuckolded for 3 years, now collecting debt is justified. 300 million? I think it's too little, should be $1 billion. Ethan knelt downstairs for 2 days, not gaining sympathy but becoming a laughingstock. On the 3rd morning, he finally stood up. But not because I forgave him, but because police came. Mr. Ethan, you're suspected of maliciously damaging others' reputation, come with us. As Ethan was taken away, he still shouted upstairs, Vivian, I won't give up. I'll definitely repay you. Sophie wanted to follow but was surrounded by reporters. Miss Sophie, any response to the hotel records? Netizens say you're the mistress, what do you think? Is the child in your belly definitely Ethan's? Facing these sharp questions, Sophie could only cover her face and flee. Upstairs watching this, I finally felt some satisfaction. This is betrayal's price. Afternoon, Thomas called. Miss Vivian, Ethan is detained, might be locked up for days. That's good. I didn't care, just let him cool down. Also, we found some interesting info. Thomas's voice excited, Ethan's company finances are worse than imagined. What do you mean? He owes considerable external debts, totaling over 50 million. Moreover, he mortgaged company shares to the bank. I was stunned, you mean he has no money at all? Yes, he's now an empty shell. Thomas said, if we sue now, he can only declare bankruptcy. I was silent for a while. If Ethan goes bankrupt, my 300 million is truly unrecoverable. Thomas, any other ways? Yes, we can apply to seize his personal assets. Cars, houses, some luxuries, totaling a few million. A few million? Compared to 300 million, it's a drop in the bucket. I suddenly felt ironic. Ethan was always acting, not only feelings fake, but his success too. He's a thorough scammer. What about Sophie? Any assets? I asked. This. Thomas hesitated. Sophie has a house under her name, bought by Ethan for her. Legally, if proven bought with your father's money, we can recover it. Then recover it. I didn't hesitate, not a penny to spare them. Understood. Hanging up, I leaned in the chair, feeling exhausted. 3 years of feelings, what did I get? A scam, a pile of debts, and full network mockery. I really wonder, if time could rewind, would I choose to believe Ethan? The answer is no. Evening back home, father was in the study watching news. Handled well. He saw me enter, nodded satisfactorily. Ethan, this boy finally showed his true colors. Dad, actually I feel a bit tired. I sat on the sofa, fighting like this, is it meaningful? Of course meaningful. George put down the newspaper. Daughter, remember, in this world, only 2 kinds of people, hunters and prey. If you don't want to be prey, you must be the hunter. But living like this, don't you feel tired? Tired? George laughed. Do you know what real tiredness is? Real tiredness is being stepped on, never turning over. Your current tiredness is the victor's tiredness. I nodded, though still feeling empty inside. The next day, Sophie came to the company looking for me. She was much haggard, eyes swollen, hair messy. Vivian, can I talk to you? She stood at the office door, asking cautiously. The third day, come in. I gestured her to sit. What to talk? I beg you to let Ethan go. Sophie knelt directly before me. Please, I'll do anything. Anything? I sneered. I said yesterday, go die. Can you do it? Sophie was stunned, eyes full of despair. If I really die, can you let Ethan go? I didn't expect her to say that, somewhat surprised inside. You're serious? I'm serious. Sophie's eyes had madness. As long as you promise to let him go, I can die now. I looked at her carefully, confirming she wasn't joking. Sophie, do you really love Ethan to this extent? Love. She didn't hesitate. I love him more than myself. Then what about your child? Sophie was stunned, subconsciously touching her belly. Child, she murmured, the madness in her eyes slowly fading. Seems you're not as great as imagined. I stood up, looking down at her. Even abandoning your own child, still talk about love? Sophie lowered her head, tears dropping on the floor. Actually, even if you die, I won't let Ethan go. I said cruelly, because this isn't an emotional issue, it's a debt issue. He owes me money, must repay. But he has no money. Sophie cried. No money is his problem, not mine. I said indifferently, Sophie, do you really think I care about your lives? Sophie lifted her head, eyes full of shock. You really don't care at all? Why care? I countered, when you betrayed me, did you care about my feelings? But we haven't harmed you. Haven't harmed me? I almost laughed. Sophie, your logic is really interesting. Seducing someone's boyfriend isn't harming? Stealing the groom at someone's engagement banquet isn't harming? We truly love each other. So what? I interrupted. Does true love allow doing whatever? Allow not bearing responsibility? Sophie was left speechless. Sophie, I'll say it last time. I walked to her. 300 million, not a penny less. If can't repay, wait for bankruptcy and jail. Besides that, I don't want to hear anything. Sophie looked at me desperately. You really won't give any face? Face? I sneered. Do you deserve to talk about face? Scram, don't bother me again. Sophie staggered up, walking step by step to the door. At the door, she suddenly turned back. Vivian, you'll regret it. Regret? I dismissed. I'll only regret knowing you. After Sophie left, I sat at the desk, inexplicably irritable. Though I spoke tough, I felt some unease inside. Sophie's last words seemed like a threat. But what can I do? Forgive them and continue being a fool? Impossible. Since choosing revenge, go all the way. I picked up the phone, called Thomas. Thomas, speed up the litigation, I want the judgment soon. Okay, I'll arrange immediately. Hanging up, I took a deep breath. Ethan, Sophie, since you chose betrayal, prepare to bear consequences. This game has just begun. A week later, the court heard the case. I wore a black suit, sitting in the plaintiff's seat. Ethan came, bailed out, but looked haggard. Sophie didn't come, heard she was hospitalized for fetal protection due to emotional fluctuations. Court now in session. The judge struck the gavel. The trial went smoothly, evidence solid, no controversy. Ethan indeed owed $300 million, an iron fact. His lawyer tried to defend, saying the loan was for investment, now failed, should repay in installments. But my lawyer Thomas was prepared. Your Honor, per the loan contract, if the borrower can't repay on time, the creditor has right to demand one-time settlement. Moreover, we have evidence that Mr. Ethan didn't use all funds for investment but squandered on personal enjoyment. Thomas took out a stack of materials. This is Mr. Ethan's consumption records over 3 years. Luxury hotels, luxuries, luxury cars, totaling over $50 million. These were all paid with my client's father's loan. The judge looked at the materials, frowning. Ethan's face became ugly. Your Honor, I can explain. No need. The judge interrupted, facts are clear, you indeed owe the debt and squandered recklessly. Per relevant laws, judgment as follows, defendant Ethan to repay plaintiff Vivian $390 million within 1 month. If overdue, enforce execution, seize and auction personal assets. Gavel fell, Ethan slumped in the chair. I stood up, adjusted clothes, prepared to leave. Vivian, wait. Ethan suddenly called. I stopped, didn't turn back. I know I was wrong, really no. Ethan's voice trembled, give me some time, I'll definitely repay. 1 month, the judge already gave you time. I said coldly. 1 month isn't enough, I need more. That's the court's decision, not mine. I walked out of court without looking back. Behind came Ethan's shout, Vivian, please, give me a chance. But I didn't stop. Chance? He's wasted too many. Out of court, faced a group of reporters. Miss Vivian, your view on today's judgment? Miss Vivian, you really won't give Ethan some time? Miss Vivian, outsiders say you're too cold-blooded, how do you respond? Facing these, I stopped. Dear journalists, I want to say a few words. I faced the lens, voice calm. First, this isn't emotional dispute but debt dispute. Ethan owes my family $300 million, that's fact. Second, I have no obligation to pay for anyone's betrayal. If this is called cold-blooded, I'd rather be cold-blooded to the end. Finally, I hope everyone views this rationally. Don't invert right and wrong due to sympathy. With that, I got in the car, left the scene. Back at company, Tina told me Sophie came again. She's waited downstairs 2 hours, says to see you. Not seeing. I refused directly, in future, when she comes, don't let her in. But Sophie obviously wouldn't give up easily. At 5, preparing to leave, I found her waiting at the door. Seeing me out, she rushed over. Vivian, please. Sophie grabbed my arm, give Ethan some time. Sophie, are you annoying? I shook off her hand, I've said clearly, 1 month, not a day more. Sophie's eyes full of despair, but 1 month isn't enough, you know what over 300 million means? That's his problem. I looked indifferently, when borrowing, he signed, now time to repay. If he really bankrupts, what about the child? Sophie covered belly, this child is innocent. Child innocent? I sneered, then I'm not innocent? Deceived by you for 3 years, I deserve it? Sophie speechless. Sophie, last time. I said word by word, get lost, don't bother me again. Otherwise, I'll take back your house too. Sophie's face pale, staggering back. I got in the car, through the window saw her standing alone on the street, looking miserable. But I had no sympathy. This is betrayal's price. In the next 2 weeks, Ethan tried various ways to raise money. He sold luxury cars, watches, even auctioned company office equipment. But all added up to just a few million, a drop compared to 300 million. He tried bank loans, but his credit was ruined, no bank willing. Borrow from friends? Those usual buddies avoided upon hearing tens of millions. Ethan was utterly desperate. 1 week left to the judgment deadline. That evening, I was reading at home when Sabina rushed in. "Miss, someone making trouble outside." I looked from window. Ethan and Sophie were there. No, not just them, also a woman over 50, probably Sophie's mother. "Vivian, come out." Sophie's mother shouted outside, "You vicious woman, harming my daughter like this. My daughter pregnant, you force her out of house, do you have humanity? Where's justice? Such evil people get good ends?" She shouted hoarsely, attracting onlookers. I frowned, told Sabina to call police. But Ethan stopped Sophie's mother from continuing. "Auntie, don't." He held her, "This is useless." Then he looked up at my window, loudly, "Vivian, I know you're up there. I don't beg forgiveness, but beg you let Sophie go. She has my child in her belly, please, for the child's sake, don't evict her. If you must revenge, come at me. I can go to jail, die, but please let the mother and child go." Ethan spoke emotionally, moving onlookers. "This man has responsibility. Pitiful, for wife and child, even life don't want. Vivian too ruthless, not sparing even pregnant woman." I stood at the window, coldly watching this play. Ethan acting again. And this time, shaping himself as a good man, sacrificing everything for wife and child. Unfortunately, I've seen through his essence. At this time, Sophie suddenly covered her belly, face in pain. "Hurts, my belly hurts." She squatted, forehead sweating. "Sophie, what's wrong?" Ethan hurriedly supported her. I might be giving birth." Sophie's voice weak. "What?" Ethan panicked, "Only 7 months, how possible to give birth? Quick, take me to hospital." Onlookers immediately called ambulance. Soon, it arrived. As Sophie was lifted onto stretcher, still moaning in pain. "Vivian, please, save my child." She reached out, as if grasping something. This scene was filmed on site, immediately uploaded online. Netizens exploded again, "Too pitiful, pregnant woman forced to premature birth. Vivian is too vicious. This is harming 2 lives. Retribution. This is retribution." I closed the curtains, feeling irritable. Sophie's premature birth, is it real or another play? If real, I indeed bear some moral blame. If fake, their acting is too advanced. But regardless, I can't back down. Next day, news reported Sophie's condition. She did have premature birth, child now in incubator, life uncertain. Doctor said possibly due to excessive emotional fluctuations leading to premature. Now, online condemnations more intense. Vivian is a murderer. An innocent child, harmed like this. Heaven won't tolerate. Even some celebrities and intellectuals spoke out, condemning my actions. Company stock began falling, investors worried reputation issues affect performance. Father called me to study. Situation now complex. His face grave, Sophie's premature indeed brought us trouble. Dad, did we do wrong? I was puzzled, we're just collecting legitimate debt. Legally, we're not wrong. George sighed, but morally, we're at disadvantage. Public emotions easily incited, especially involving pregnant women and children. What should we do? George pondered, temporarily stepped back. Announce suspension of execution, wait until child stable. Why? I was unwilling, isn't this indirectly admitting wrong? Daughter, sometimes tactical retreat is for better counterattack. George said earnestly, stubbornly resisting now will make our position more passive. I felt father reasonable. Indeed, current public opinion unfavorable. Continuing hardline might affect whole family interests. Okay, I'll listen to you. Next day, I held press conference. Given Miss Sophie's current health, I decide to suspend court judgment execution. I said to Lenz, wait until child stable, then discuss debt. But I declare, this doesn't mean I give up collecting debt. Law is law, feelings are feelings, can't mix. After conference, online condemnations lessened, but many still dissatisfied. This woman just pretending, after storm, continue forcing. Surface suspend, actually still want money. True kindness should be complete forgiveness, not this fake mercy. Looking at comments, I felt uncomfortable. Be good, get deceived, be bad, get cursed. This world, what does it want from me? Half-month later, Sophie's child stabilized. Though premature, all indicators normal, safe after scare. Online discussions about me gradually subsided, new hot events attracting attention. I thought this could end, but Ethan had new moves. That morning, in office handling files, Tina rushed in. Vivian, trouble. Her face bad, Ethan posted a video online. I immediately opened computer, searched news. Sure, Ethan posted a 10-minute video, title, My Confession. Clicking video, Ethan sat in a shabby room, stubbly, haggard. Hello everyone, I'm Ethan. He faced Lenz, voice choked. Today, I want to say sorry to all, especially Vivian. 3 years ago, I did betray Vivian, hurt her. This is my life's biggest regret. I know no apologies can make up. But Vivian is a good girl, she shouldn't be blamed by netizens. All my fault, if to curse, curse me alone. Here, Ethan suddenly knelt. Vivian, I know you're watching. Please forgive me. Not for me, for Sophie and child. Sophie knew nothing, I was deceiving her. Child is innocent, shouldn't suffer for my mistakes. If you must revenge, come at me. I can jail, bankrupt, but beg let them go. Vivian, I loved you, though unworthy. But hope you're happy, find true love. Sorry, really sorry. Video end, Ethan bowed deeply to Lenz, then screen black. After watching, my mood complex. Ethan's performance this time sincere, not as artificial. But change is nothing. Wrong is wrong, apology can't solve all. Sure enough, video went viral quickly. Netizens' attitudes changed again, this man has conscience, knows to bear responsibility. Looks really regretful, maybe truly changed. Vivian should forgive, everyone makes mistakes. Yes, forgive when possible. But also different voices, if apology useful, what for law? 3 years betrayal, 1 video to erase? Vivian no obligation to forgive anyone. I shut computer, felt headache. Ethan's move clever, using sincere confession to gain sympathy again. Now if continued debt collection, surely accused cold ruthless. But if stop, previous efforts wasted? While tangled, Thomas came. Miss Vivian, good news. He said excitedly, we found Ethan's concealed assets. What assets? I perked up. He has an overseas account with 8 million USD. Thomas took out a file, this is funds he transferred out, to evade debt. I looked carefully, indeed Ethan's overseas account. Can recover? Yes, but through legal means. Thomas said, with this evidence, we can apply for additional execution. I thought, decided. Apply immediately, not a penny let him escape. Understood. Next day, news exposed Ethan's concealed overseas assets. Netizen slapped again, just said sincere, turns out transferring assets. Indeed acting, quite like. Vivian right, can't soften to such people. Scum is scum, never changes. Sentiment reversed again, I felt relieved. Ethan good at acting, but can't fight facts. Afternoon, Sophie called. Vivian, can meet? Last time. Her voice weak. Say on phone. Something's unclear on phone. Sophie paused. About Ethan, want to tell you some truths. Truth? I got curious, what truth? Meat to say, 1 hour later, still Blue Mountain Cafe. Hanging up, I pondered. What truth Sophie wants to say? Is there something I don't know? 1 hour later, I arrived on time. Sophie waiting inside, much thinner, pale, no previous glow. Vivian, thanks for coming. She smiled forcedly. Speak, what truth? I direct. Sophie deep breath, Ethan, he never loved me. I stunned, what mean? 3 years, he always using me. Sophie's eyes full pain, use me to hurt you, transfer assets, evade responsibility. What evidence? Sophie took phone, played recording. Ethan's voice, Sophie this stupid woman, really thinks I love her. She's just a tool, use and discard. The angrier Vivian, the better for me. Sophie's existence is to stimulate Vivian, make her lose reason. Once I get Shin family assets, first to dump is Sophie. After listening, I shocked speechless. Everything was Ethan's scheme. Even Sophie was used pawn. Recording finished, cafe quiet. I looked at Sophie, mood complex. She was also victim. When did you record this? I asked. A month ago. Sophie wiped tears, he thought I asleep, on balcony calling. I secretly recorded. Why bring out now? Because. Sophie hesitated, I still had illusions, thought he'd change. Until yesterday, heard asset transfer, completely gave up. I silent a while, not knowing what to say. If Sophie true, then 3 years, we both played by Ethan. Vivian, I know too late. Sophie head down, but want you know, I never thought to hurt you. I'm also victim. Then engagement banquet? I questioned, you clearly cooperated his performance. Sophie more painful, he told me, only this way you'd agree breakup. Said you don't love him, just for family interests. I believed, thought good for all. I bitter smile, result we both deceived. Yes. Sophie nodded, Vivian, really sorry. If I saw his true face earlier, know these things. Saying now useful? I tired, things happened. I know useless, but still want apologize. Sophie sincere, also, overseas account, I can testify. What? I have evidence that 8 million USD is his transferred assets. Sophie took USB, here his transfer records and emails. I took USB, mood shaken. Sophie actually helping me against Ethan. Why help me? I asked. Because I hate him. Sophie's eyes burned anger, he deceived not only you, but me. And. She paused, gritted teeth, and that child isn't his at all. What? I almost jumped. Child is someone else's. Sophie painful, before with Ethan, I had another boyfriend. After breakup, found pregnant. Ethan knew, but told me conceal, said can use child to blackmail you. I completely stunned. Even child fake? Ethan scheming deeper than imagined. So the child in hospital is my ex-boyfriend's. Sophie teared, but Ethan always made me say his, said this way you won't go too far. I leaned on chair, felt dizzy. These 3 years, what was real, what fake? Vivian, now you understand. Sophie looked at me, we both Ethan's pawns, played in his palm. He never loved anyone, loves only money and power. I composed myself, looked at Sophie, telling me this, not afraid he retaliates? Not afraid. Sophie firm, anyway, I have nothing to lose. And, can't let him continue free. I took USB, stood, Sophie, thanks for telling. No need, what I should do. Sophie stood, Vivian, our past. Past is past. I interrupted, we both victims, no need to hurt each other. Sophie flashed gratitude, thanks for understanding. I said no more, turned and left cafe. Back in car, I called Thomas. Thomas, new evidence. What? Ethan asset transfer details, and audio of him using Sophie to deceive me. Thomas excited, great, with this, we can apply additional criminal liability. What mean? Fraud. Thomas explained, using false feelings to scam loan, huge amount, constitutes fraud. My heart stirred, how many years? Over 10 years, even life. Over 10? I imagined Ethan spending life in prison, surge of pleasure. Sue immediately, make him pay due price. Understood. Hanging up, I leaned in seat, mood complex. Ethan more despicable than imagined. Not only betrayed me, used Sophie to hurt me. Even child his tool. Such person deserves legal severe punishment. Next day, new evidence submitted to court. Prosecutor's office intervened, filing investigation on Ethan's fraud. Third day, news out, online boiled again. Oh my, actually fraud case? This man terrifying, scheming deep to horror. Even child fake, what else real? Sophie pitiful, used as tool 3 years. Anyone still sympathize Ethan? Media crazily reported reversal. Shocking reversal, affectionate man is fraudster. 3-year scam, money conspiracy behind love. Tycoon heiress revenge, from victim to victor. Looking at titles, I finally felt satisfied. Truth revealed, I can hold head high. Afternoon, father returned jubilant. Daughter, well done. He patted shoulder, now who dares say you're cold-blooded? Ethan boy finally exposed. Dad, I didn't expect him so despicable. I said truthfully. That's right. George earnestly, daughter, remember today's lesson. In this world, never underestimate human evil. Some people, for money, sell everything, including conscience. I nodded, this experience grew me a lot. Evening, Sophie texted, Vivian, saw news. Thanks for not exposing me. I replied, we both victims, no need hurt each other. Take good care of child, start anew. Sophie replied soon, I will. Apologize again, thanks for tolerance. Put down phone, I walked to window, looking at night view. This months-long war finally ending. Though twisted process, result satisfactory. Ethan got due punishment, I regained innocence. As for 300 million, now seems recoverable. More importantly, I learned self-protection, survival in complex world. Love may betray, but strength never. From now, I'll be stronger. A month later, Ethan formally arrested. Prosecutors sued for fraud, solid evidence, almost no turnaround. Overseas $8 million USD frozen, awaiting repatriation. Plus other assets under name, though not fully cover 300 million debt, at least recover large part. My life began normalizing. Company stock rose again, investors' confidence restored. Online discussions about me turned from abuse to praise. Vivian so capable, handled scum perfectly. This is modern woman's proper appearance, never compromise to scum. Having money and strength good, can seek justice. Hope all women like Vivian, protect themselves. Even some saw me as women's rights representative, interview invites poured in. But I refused all. Don't want to be representative, just quiet life. That afternoon, in office handling files, Tina reported. Vivian, a gentleman to see you, says university classmate. What name? Henry. Henry? I thought, remembered. Indeed university classmate, computer major, quiet, good grades. No contact after graduation. Let him in. Minutes later, Henry entered office. He changed little, still scholarly look, glasses, simple shirt. Vivian, long time. He smiled greeting. Long time. I gestured sit, why here? Passing by, remembered your company in this building, so came up. Henry a bit nervous, not disturbing work? No. I poured tea, what doing now? Open software company, small scale, just over 10 people. Henry humble, can't compare to yours. We chatted university times, relaxed atmosphere. Henry same as before, mild speech, sincere, comfortable feeling. Right, recently your matters I all know. Henry suddenly, handled well, that Ethan indeed not good. You followed this? Not intentionally, too hot, hard not to know. Henry shook head, but I always believed, you have your reasons. Why believe me so? I curious. Because you're Vivian. Henry natural, for university years, saw how you treat friends, handle problems. You're kind, never hurt without reason. Hearing this, my heart warmed. So long, first time someone believed unconditionally. Thanks. I sincere. No need, between friends should. Henry smiled, right, if time, want dinner together? As old classmates reunion. I thought, nodded, okay. Great. Henry looked happy, then tonight? I know a restaurant with good food. Can. Evening 7, we met at quiet Chinese restaurant. Elegant decor, few guests, comfortable environment.